Good day, grade 9 students. We are already on the week 4 to 5 of our lesson for quarter 4 of Mathematics 9. So this involves word problems involving your right triangles. So before we start, I'd like you to download a scientific calculator on your cell phone or if you have a scientific calculator at home. So I'll be discussing also how you're going to use this calculator to be able to solve some of the problems or some of the equations involving trigonometric ratios. So before we proceed with the word problems, let's have first the solving of unknown sides and angles of a right triangle. So in this problem solving, you will be able to encounter some problems where the unknown are the sides or the angles of a right triangle. So to be able to solve that, you have to know how are you going to find or how are you going to know what trigonometric ratio are you going to use. It depends upon the unknown or it depends upon the given of our problem. Let's start if our given is one side and one angle of a given right triangle. So let's say we have a right triangle here. Let's have some sides. Let's say this is 28 degrees and this is our unknown side and this is 15, let's say, meters. Now, if that is our given, we have to identify from our reference angle. So since this is our reference angle, this unknown side is our opposite. And this given 15 is our adjacent. So, that's what you're going to do. So, ganun yung gagawin po. Depende kung ano yung given angle, take a look at the unknown if that is an opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. So, in this case, 28 degrees is our reference angle. So, that unknown x is the opposite of that angle. And this 15 is the adjacent side of that angle. So, since we have an opposite, and we also have an adjacent, what trigonometric ratio can we use? From our SOHCAHTOA, we have sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. So from that given, we will be able to see that we can use tangent. So the formula for our tangent is opposite over adjacent. So what angle are we going to use? Our given, which is 28 degrees. So sine tangent 28 is equal to opposite over the adjacent. And what is our opposite? Our opposite side is x. And our adjacent side is 15. So we're just going to write 15. Now, it depends upon where our unknown is. If the unknown is on the numerator, again, if the unknown is on the numerator, we're going to multiply our given. But if the unknown is on the denominator, which I'm going to show later, we are going to divide. So since the unknown is on the numerator, we're going to have x is equal to the value 15 times your tangent 28 degrees. So how are we going to do that? Okay, let me erase first this given. Now, if you already have downloaded your calculator from your cell phone, this is what you're going to do. So, since we're given with 15 tangent 28, we're just going to input this 15. So, 1, 5. Then, input our tangent. It is this one, tangent. And then, our angle. The angle is 28. So, we're going to have 28. Then, just input the equal sign. So, again, input just 15, then the tangent, then 28, then the equal sign. So what are we going to have? So if you already calculated that one, the answer is 7.98. So we're going to uniform with two significant figures or with two decimal places. Okay, so we're going to have 7.98. So our answer will be um, rounded off to the nearest hundredths. Okay, so that's for our first example. So what if we have another example? Let's say another angle which is 46 degrees, 20, and then y. So again, we're going to look at our given, and our given angle is 46. From our given angle 46 degrees, this 20 again is the opposite side and this y is the adjacent. So again, we have the opposite and adjacent. The formula for that one is tangent. So we're going to have your tangent. Our angle is 46 degrees. The formula is opposite over adjacent. Our opposite is 20 and our adjacent side is y. In this case, our unknown is on the denominator. So if the unknown is on the denominator, we are going to divide like this. So y is equal to 20. So the angle or the trigonometric ratio will be on the denominator. So they're going to have tangent 46 degrees. So how are we going to use our calculator? So we're going to use our calculator like this. So if we have 20, we're just going to input 20, which is this. So 20, then divide. Divide by tangent 46. So tangent 46 and then your equal sign. So if you already calculated, the answer is 19.31. So that if we're going to use tangent, let's have another example. So let's say we have an angle here, 54. This is M and this is 10. So in this case, angle 54, M is the opposite, and this 10 now is the hypotenuse. Since we already have opposite and hypotenuse, we can now use from the value or the trigonometric ratio of sine. The formula for our sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So our sine, our angle is 54, our opposite is m, and our hypotenuse is 10. Again, the unknown is on the numerator, so we can multiply. So the value of m is equal to 10 times your sine 54 degrees. And again, if we're going to use our calculator in this case, let's erase first this given. So if we're going to use our calculator, we're going to have m is equal to 10. So just input 10 and then your tangent and then your 54 and then your equal sign. And you can already have the value which is 8.09. So that's what you're going to do. Let's have the next example. Let's have another example. Let's say we have an angle here which is 35 degrees and then 16, and this is the unknown. Looking at our angle which is 35 degrees, 16 is our opposite side and this end is the hypotenuse. So since we have an opposite and a hypotenuse, we can use our trigonometric ratio sine. And our formula for sine theta is opposite over the hypotenuse. So to solve that, we have sine. Our given angle is 35. Then our opposite is 16 and our hypotenuse is n. So our unknown here is on the denominator. So we are going to, yes, divide. So n is equal to 16 over sine 35 degrees. So to find our value of n, okay, let's erase first this one. So the value of our n will be computed using your calculator like this. So we have your 16. So input your 16, then your division divided by your sign, then 35 degrees, then your equal sign. And our value is equal to 27.90. Now, let's have another example. So let's see, we have here your 36 degrees, and then we have here your R and 13. So, to be able to solve that, we are going to find first the connection of this given. So, this R is the adjacent side, and this 13 is the hypotenuse. So, from our trigonometric ratio, if you have an adjacent and a hypotenuse, we can use cosine. Okay, yung ka. So, cosine is equal to adjacent over the hypotenuse. So, cosine, our angle is 36. Our opposite is r, and the hypotenuse is 13. The unknown is on the numerator, so we are going to multiply this two. So, we're going to have r is equal to 13 times your cosine 36. So, to use your calculator, you're just going to input your 13 and then your cosine and then 36, then the equal sign. And then you're going to have your answer, which is 10.52. So, another one. We have 62 degrees and then you have A here. Let me erase that one. Let's have here your 34 and then you have here your A. Again, looking at the given, this 34 is our adjacent side and this A is the hypotenuse. So if we have your adjacent and your hypotenuse, we can use cosine. So we have cosine, our angle is 62. The opposite or the adjacent is 34 and the hypotenuse is A. Since our unknown is on the denominator, we're going to divide. So A is equal to 34 over the adjacent cosine 62. So if you're going to use your calculator, so we're just going to input all of this. So instead of using multiplication, we're going to use division. So we're just going to input 34, then division divided by cosine 62, and then your equal sign, and you're going to have 72.42 as your answer. Okay, let's proceed. What if you're given our two sides? If you're given our two sides, you are going to find the unknown angle. So let's say we have the following way. So let's say the unknown angle is here. Halimbawa, yun yung hinahanap and we have the following given, 6 and 8. So again, we're going to identify the connection of our given and our unknown. So if this is our given angle, theta, this 6 is the opposite and this 8 is the adjacent. Again, just like a while ago, we have to know the trigonometric ratio to use. So since we have again your opposite and adjacent, we are going to use tangent. Because tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. Instead of putting an angle, we're going to use angle theta. So to name that angle, so we're going to have tangent theta instead of x or y. That is a representation of the angle. So tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Our opposite is 6 and our adjacent is 8. So how are we going to solve this? So using your calculator, you're going to have the inverse of tangent. Then just input 6 over 8. And we are already going to have your answer. So this is how you're going to use your calculator. First, you have to input or you have to click on shift. Kindly look. So it's supposedly you have to have the same calculator as this one to be able to process the same. So shift and then the word tangent, shift, tangent, then 6. Use your parentheses, then 6 divided by 8, then your parentheses, then your equal sign. So it's important to click on shift, then your tangent, parentheses 6 divided by 8, then your equal sign, then you're going to have the answer, which is, again, we have to have to the nearest hundreds, which is 36.87 degrees. Another example. So let's say the unknown here is on this angle theta. We have 3 and 7. So it's just the same. So looking at angle theta, 3 is the opposite and this 7 is the adjacent. So yes, we're going to use again tangent. So tangent theta, our opposite is 3 and our adjacent is 7. So again, to find your theta, the inverse of tangent, then you have to divide 3 and 7. So just the same process, you have to input first your shift, then your tangent, and then the parenthesis 3 divided by 7, and then your equal sign. Then we're going to have the answer, which is 23.20 degrees. It's important that you have your unit, which is the degree or the degree sign. What if we have this? The angle theta is here, then we have here your 4 and your 9. So looking at your angle theta, this 4 is the opposite and this 9 is the longest side, which is the hypotenuse. If you have the opposite over the hypotenuse, the trigonometric ratio to use is sine, because sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So sine theta, the opposite is 4 and the hypotenuse is 9. So to get your angle theta, so the inverse of sine, then 4 over 9. So the same process with your calculator. So instead of shift tangent, you have going to have shift and then sine. Then your 4, your parenthesis first, and then 4 over 4 divided by 9, parentheses, and then your equal sign. Then you're going to have the value, which is 26.39 degrees. Let's have another example. So we have here your angle theta, then 3 and 9. So looking at your given, your 3 is the opposite side of our unknown angle. 9 is the hypotenuse side. So again, opposite over hypotenuse. So we're going to use sine. So sine theta is equal to the opposite, which is 3, and the hypotenuse, which is 9. So to get your angle, so the inverse of sine, then 3 over 9. So the angle theta, using your calculator, the same process, shift, sine, parenthesis 3 over 9, parenthesis, then equal sign. The value is 19.47 degrees. Okay, let's have another one. So if we have 5, this is the angle theta, then we have 5 and 8. So in this case, this 5 is the adjacent and this 8 is the hypotenuse. So you have here adjacent over hypotenuse, ka. So we're going to use cosine. So cosine theta is equal to the opposite, which is 5, and the hypotenuse, which is 8. So to find again your angle theta, the inverse of cosine, 5 over 8 is equal to, so again, using your calculators, you're going to have shift, then cosine, parenthesis 5, divided by 8, parenthesis, then equal sign. You're going to have 51.32 degrees. Another one. this one, we have your theta here. Then you have 7 and 11. So that 7 is the adjacent. This 11 is the hypotenuse. So if we have that given, so we're going to use again cosine. So cosine theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Our adjacent is 7. Our hypotenuse is 11. So to find your theta, the inverse of cosine 7 over 11. So again, using your calculator, so shift cosine parenthesis 7 over divided by 11, then your equal sign. Then we're going to have 50.48 degrees. So that's all. I hope you understood how you're going to, or you understand how you're going to solve for the unknown sides and unknown angles of a given right triangle. And that is to prepare you in answering the word problems on week 4 to 5 of our learners packet. So that's all. Thank you. See you again on our next video so that you will be able to answer your engagement, assimilation, and assessment part of our learners packet. Thank you and God bless.